Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at the Cycplus tyre inflator. Is it a game changer? Does it really make a difference? Is it easier to use than all the other things you could use to inflate your tyres with? So I'll be having a deep dive into this. First, we're going to do an unboxing and just see what's in the box. So I was sent this by Cycplus to have a look at and to give my thoughts on. So let's see. I've never used a tyre inflator, an electric tyre inflator before, so it'd be interesting to give it a go. So small instruction manual, and there it is. Smaller than I thought it would be actually. So it'd be really interesting to see how it goes. So it's inside a silicone case because I think it does get quite warm when using. So if I just take that off. Okay, so there's the inflator. Comes with a silicone case, as it does get quite warm when using, I think. So a bit like when you're using a CO2 canister, often you can have a rubber cover to protect your hands when it gets cold. This is the opposite. It's going to be protecting your hands when it gets hot. How hot? I've no idea, but I'm sure we'll find out. So we've got the inflator in the box. What else have we got? Small bag. I presume it's a bag to keep it in, so to make sure it's kept waterproof. So that might be quite useful. And I'm guessing just a charging lead. And yes, it's a USB charging lead. And I think it's like a USB-C connector looking at it. So if you've got any USB-C charging cables, you'll be able to use those. The only other thing that's in the box is the adapters. If you want to use not Presta valves, if you want to use Schrader valves, you can adjust it using those. But I think out the box, it is ready to go on Presta valves, which is what I use. Okay, so that's it. Pretty simple, pretty small. There's a button on the back, which also is the charging light. So if it's green, it's ready to go. I think if you double press it, so quite loud. How effective it is, I don't know. We'll give it a go. So this is meant to weigh, I believe, 97 grams. Here's my scales. And it comes out with the rubber thing on at 114, so a fair bit over the weight. I suppose I should take this off, weigh it without the rubber or the silicone cover. 96 grams. So estimated or suggested 97, 96 on my scales, that weighs 17 grams. So actually that's spot on with the weight. So that's quite impressive. One thing I did wonder about when getting this was how much it compares to CO2, because normally I tend to use or take with me CO2. I mean, to be honest, I'm not often pumping up tyres by the side of the road. But when I do, I tend to use CO2, and I normally just carry them in this small saddle bag. Sometimes if I'm going further afield or off-road, I might take a bar bag. And in this bag, I can take, that's 2 tyre inflators and a tubeless hole sealer. I've forgotten what you call those. Anyway, what I was interested to know was how much does it weigh compared to a couple of canisters and a inflator top. So that's 153. So, you know, if you carry the Cycplus, you are saving weight. And I think I could quite easily fit this in this case. Yeah, so easily fit that in the case and save a few grams. I mean, obviously the main thing about it to me is you're maybe saving the environment a bit. Using CO2 canisters is not really environmentally friendly. Apart from putting CO2 in the atmosphere, you're throwing away metal all the time to be hopefully recycled. So, you know, and these are expensive if you use them a lot. So one thing I wanted to do was to see how much it weighed compared to those and how more environmentally friendly it should be. But another thing I thought about with the Cycplus was with the CO2, I tend to, you know, use it all in one go and that's it. I don't like to sort of have it if I'm sort of adjusting tyre pressures or I go off-road and I think I need to put a bit more air in my gravel bike tyre. I'm not going to be using CO2. I could be using my pump, so I could probably be using this to adjust the air in the tyre more effectively than I could with a CO2 canister. Obviously, a normal bike pump is the baseline of, you know, how you can inflate a tyre. It's just interesting to compare the two to see whether I'd like to take this on my ride. And actually what we'll do is compare the weights, because I didn't do that, did I? So let's see. We know that's 97 grams or all in 117, I think it was. Just wait for that to zero. Yeah, 115 now. That one, 106. So very similar weights between the two. And obviously this probably takes up a little bit less space, maybe. Okay, so let's go outside and start inflating tyres and see how that goes. So this is a 25mm tyre. It's as flat as a pancake at the moment. I haven't used it for a while. I've got a timer here to see how long it takes. So let's go. I can feel it's inflating. It's meant to be able to go up to about 100 psi, not that I'd run that, but it'd be interesting to see how hard it does inflate this tyre too. 39 seconds in. It's getting a little bit warm. Okay, so that feels quite firm. I'm guessing maybe 80 psi in there. Let's get my track pump and see. So according to my track pump, that's about 72 psi, and that was in 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay, so this time it's a bit of a bigger test. These are 28 to 30mm tyres. They come out 30 on the rims. I normally have them about 65 psi. It's already spent a minute charging up that other tyre. Let's give this one a go. Obviously it's less psi, but the volume's going to be bigger. And you're meant to have about 200 minutes of filling time. So it'd be interesting to see whether it actually can inflate 2 tyres. 49 seconds in. So let's see what PSI this got to. That was 130 again. And just under 60 PSI. And like I said, I run them normally at about 60 just over. Let's see if I can put a little bit more in. So the light's on red, so the battery's running pretty low. Obviously the thing is with these things, and the same as CO2 and the same as a pump, really you're doing it by feel. There's no way of telling exactly how much air you're putting in the tyre, not when you're out on the road. But as long as it's good enough to keep you going and get you home, that's the main thing. Actually, it doesn't feel that warm, even though it's been inflating 2 tyres. That sounds like the battery's running out, doesn't it? And there we go. So yeah, battery's gone. So that was probably about 2 or 3 minutes run time, which is about 200 seconds, isn't it? Which is what they say you get. And that, let's see what that pressure is. Okay, and that's gone up to about 70 psi, 69, 70 psi, according to my track pump. How exact that is, I don't know, but I'd be happy if I was out on the road and I could inflate my tyre pretty quickly to 70 psi. So far, so good. So there we go, the Cycplus electronic tyre inflator. I think it's worked pretty well. That's the cable that comes with it. Like I said, USB-C. Plug it in and charge it up. The thing I like about it is that obviously if you're out and about or you're on a maybe bike packing trip, most people probably take a power bank with them. You can, if you need to, recharge it. And when it's recharging, you get the red light flashing. When it's charged, it goes green and eventually off when it's fully charged. So all in all, I think it's quite an effective bike pump. It's quite small, it weighs exactly what it says. It's lighter than a couple of CO2 canisters and the adapter, similar sort of weight to a normal bike pump. I got 2 inflations out of it on a 25mm higher pressure. It might struggle a little bit more, but nowadays people tend to run wider, lower pressure tyres, and it certainly pumped up my 30mm tyre to 70 psi quite easily, and that was after the first go with the other tyre. So it works very well in my opinion. So what do you think? Drop it in the comments below. Do you think it's a really good way, an environmentally sustainable way of inflating tyres when you're out and about? Or do you think it's a gadget we don't really need? It certainly is more environmentally friendly than using CO2. We could use a hand pump. I know if I'm pumping up my 30mm tyre with my little hand pump, it's certainly going to take probably a lot longer than a minute or a minute and a half to pump it up. And the fact that it's, you know, rechargeable easily. If you go into a cafe, if you took a lead and an adapter with you, that could easily be charged up probably while you're having coffee and a cake. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you can. It will really help the channel grow. And until next time, bye for now.